The O-Zone.
Welcome to the O-Zone Podcast with Jaguars senior writer John Oehser.
All right, welcome into this week's O-Zone Podcast, and I'm joined today by Jaguars quarterbacks coach Spencer Whipple. How does that sound?
Sounds great. I mean, it sounds like a great opportunity, and to do it in this organization, and then with people around me that I know, and then meeting some of the new people on staff, the players, just the building. Everything's been great. Just the transition in itself, and just very fortunate for this opportunity to be here.
Now we talked a little bit before we started this. It's a little tricky for me to get the entire Whipple Coen timeline, but take me through it if you will. I know your father, Mark Whipple, who was a successful coach for a long time, recruited Liam at UMass, and that was where you guys first sort of joined to know each other, correct?
Yeah, so that was
03, I think.
2003 was my father's last season at UMass, and he was recruiting him for that 04 season, I believe, to come in. And I kind of remember, I don't even know if Liam remembers this, but being in one of the gymnasiums on campus, and they were holding a high school camp, and Liam was a very sought after recruit there in the Northeast, coming out of Rhode Island. And I was still in high school at the time, and they kind of did the camp, and then afterwards they did like a throwing session, and really what it was an evaluation of Liam for that program. But I also kind of jumped in and mixed in because I was just there, and my dad was there, so I was getting some throws, but I didn't stack up to what he put on display that day, because I don't know if he remembers that, but it was a good time.
Yeah, and I think obviously when you cover people and when fans get to know coaches who come through, they know them in that moment. But he was a big-time player.
Oh, yeah.
And in that area of the country,
yes,
is a big deal, right?
Yes, yeah. He was. I know he's got all the records there at UMass in terms of passing. He played early on in his career. I don't know what game it was, but he was. He played played a lot of football at UMass, and they, each year they play one or two, 1A at the time, which was called FBS teams, right. And they always held their own. And he had a very, very successful career, and like I said, broke a lot of records, Northeast, UMass, whatever it may have been, and played a lot of football and had a huge impact. And really going back there, when we all went back to coach together, you could kind of see, the some of the legacy left. And then I ended up going. My second year at college, I transferred there to UMass, and I ended up playing with Liam for a season too, and so I kind of saw it firsthand.
So played with him for a season, and then coached with him at UMass. I guess the question would be, what is it about his approach, about being in his system and working for him, that excites you? Why, it's good to be friends with a guy, but you wouldn't change careers and change paths if you didn't believe in him. What do you believe about what's going on here?
Well, I just think he, and he touched on this as well, just his time that he's, obviously we all get exposed to a number of different people, approaches, those things. He was, had the opportunity to go in LA with Sean and, learn all, that whole system, the way things are taught, the culture, the offensive philosophy, and those things. And I kind of kept up with Liam, as we played in the same division. I was with Arizona, he was with LA, so I'd see him twice a year, and then followed him when he went to Kentucky, and kind of I would turn on his games there during the season, after the season, and just try to stay up with him. And I just always thought he's always had he's creative, and he has the system that we use, but he's also not afraid to go outside the box, be creative, and be explosive, always hunting for those big plays, getting playmakers involved. So a lot of the same things we had talked about when we worked at UMass, and then he goes off and gets a chance to go with the Rams and takes all this knowledge and applies it, and keeps growing. So he's been exposed to a number of different people, but he's always had a football mind, talking about his days when he grew up, and kind of sharing that similarity with our fathers. And so we always just enjoy talking football, quarterback play, at any point, whether we were working together or not. It was just always, great things. We text, calls, hey, what were you doing here on this play when you called this? What was your thought? Did you think you were going to get this? And so I've learned a ton from over the years, and excited to learn more.
What is it about growing up around a coach, especially if you clearly, it seems like you knew early on you loved it. Why does it seem like your knowledge, maybe at a younger age, is advanced if you've been around a coach when you were growing up? It's sort of self-explanatory, but do you feel like that's the case, just being around the game when you're a kid?
Yeah, I think it's natural that you probably spend a little more time around the game. Right. I mean, I remember growing up, and I just thought it was just kind of the way of life, you know. That was just, you'd kind of go to the game, and I get to take my ball and run around on the field and be around the team and the locker room and the meeting rooms and watch a bunch of football. But, you know, it comes with
sinks in at some point.
Sinks in, and then you go to high school and you go through grade school, and you just want to, it's something that's been a part of you for so long that you kind of just, you love, you get curious. You know, I enjoy watching film. I enjoy watching games. I love what I do each day, you know, in terms of coming in and seeing all the new things that are happening around the league, being able to implement things, how to help players grow and reach their potential. And so I've been really fortunate to be around of great coaches, but also coaches that are willing and able to share their knowledge and, you know, have a passion for helping other coaches. So, you know, just a ton of names I've been involved around and gotten to know, and great friends and close friends and mentors that have taught me so much. And so just their willingness to be open and share and collaborative as we worked, you know, is really why I'm fortunate to, you know, keep growing every day because of those people.
Tell me about the quarterback coach's role. It's easy to see it in a media guy and say, okay, he's the quarterback's coach. What do you feel like your responsibilities are on a daily basis? And when I say responsibilities, top priorities, how do you help that player? What's the key to it?
Yeah, I think, you know, with our setup, and we have guys who have been around a number of great quarterbacks that have played really well in this league in terms of Liam and Grant. And so, you know, my job is just to carry out the message from Grant, from Liam, you know, how we're going to install and, you know, carry that through with the quarterback room and implement and, you know, try to find ways and see how we can, you know, maybe improve and help and deliver that message. And, you know, we really have just scratched the surface, obviously, from just starting this off-season program. Right. But, you know, me and myself, those guys have come from a similar system, Grant being in Minnesota and Liam from LA. And, you know, I'd been a derivative of that West Coast system. But for myself, too, just finding time for myself to learn a little bit more and then be able to take that knowledge and also carry out that message for the group and for all the guys in the room and on offense.
Ton of similarities with the Cardinals for 6 years before this. Offenses tend to sort of change and evolve and come back to each other over time, if you will. Similarities between what you guys were doing in Arizona and what you're seeing here.
Yeah, there was. In terms of terminology and some of the things I've been used to, and I've really been around somewhat of the same system for quite a long time in terms of where I was in college, and then had different exposures to some other systems in Arizona, which were great just to see new things. And at the end of the day, words will change, systems will change. The neat thing about it is to be able to compare and say, hey, I have the exact same concept in this case, but, you know, I've heard here's maybe a better way to teach it, or here's a better way that the players can grasp it, or, you know, this is maybe just a slight adjustment to a certain route or a certain thing that, you know, another team may do, or coaches that I've gotten to know here in the last couple months may do. And you kind of note those things and you kind of carry it with you. So always open, always, you know, wanting to learn more and try to provide the best stuff for the players, the best information, the best way that they can learn it and they can comprehend and in turn execute on the field. And I think that's what I'm constantly searching for.
We're a few minutes in, and I know everybody's sitting here, why haven't you asked the quarterback's coach about the quarterback yet? So tell me about him, first impressions of Trevor Lawrence, and what the beginning steps of working with him have been like.
Yeah, he's just been unbelievable. I mean, he's been, you know, just a great person at heart. He's super hardworking, diligent, takes care of himself. He's eager to learn. He wants to improve, you know, just in the small time sample size we have here. But you can just tell the guy, he cares about the team and improvement and all the things that it comes with playing the quarterback position, which can be a lot. And he's just been great to work with these this time we've been together. His eagerness to find out more about this system. Hey, when can I learn a little bit more or dig in? And so that's what it comes with being a high level quarterback in this league. And he's just as far as in terms of a person and preparation, just been unbelievable and just nothing but great things to say so far as we've been working with him, and can't wait to keep going.
Gotcha. The storyline so far in the last couple of weeks, both of them have talked about it, Liam and Trevor. How footwork, and when you say footwork with a quarterback, it tends to get misunderstood a little bit, I think. He's working on footwork, but tell me why footwork is so important in this system. He touched on it publicly a couple weeks ago about how the timing of that really helps with reads. You know more about it than I do, so why is it so important in this system?
Yeah, it's built around, the system goes back a number of years, and a lot of the original things were from Walsh, and talked about the West Coast passing, and obviously it's grown since then in a lot of different avenues and different ways. But really what you try to do in the quarterback position and in terms of tying it together with the offensive installation and the pass game itself and even the run game in most cases is just to have a foundation, a set list of footwork that you can adhere to. And I think what that does for a quarterback, and really at any position, if this is what we're kind of expecting or asking you to do on every given play, if you can get yourself as close to what we're looking for in terms of a footwork perspective, we know the result is going to get us what we want in terms of execution. So
as Liam said, it takes a little bit of thought out of not thought, but playing with a clear mind is what he likes to talk about.
It gives you a blueprint for, you do it a number of times over and over, and I know exactly when I'm going to throw this pass concept, I'm going to take this footwork and rhythm, and that's going to time up to get me back. And is it always cut and dry and clean like we're playing on a board? No, it's not. This is a super competitive league. Things change. There's so many variables. But to be able to fall back on that foundation that you have and can get you in the right place, your feet are speaking to you constantly and tell you where and how to go with the football. I think it's just comforting for a quarterback, just to operate in a system like that, where I know I can fall back to this blueprint.
Right.
And in most cases, if I'm close to it, good things should happen.
And fairly common for a quarterback who hasn't been in this system to have to adjust to that a little bit, right? Because you haven't done it before.
Yeah, I think Trevor's a guy who's played a lot of football through his career, so his exposure is he's got a lot of exposure to footwork, to playing quarterback, to those things that it's talked about. So just the installation piece that we've had, the talking through him, he is super dialed when it comes to footwork and understanding and seeing the vision. Okay, yeah, here's what I see you're saying here, and I can see exactly how this goes in. And then the other piece of that is, to that point of him playing so much football, you kind of listen to him sometimes. Hey, what do you think on this? Do you feel comfortable on this given concept? Maybe taking this footwork and feeling this out. So he's been, in terms of that, he's got a great mindset. He's got a great approach, and willing and eager to improve.
What has been back to Liam a little bit? What's been your biggest impression so far working with him as a head coach in terms of that adjustment, being in front of the room, guiding the team? It seems like it's a thing that he was, I won't say born to do, but very comfortable in that role.
Yes, he's got great command. He's great with the players. He's demanding. He knows how to hold accountability. Just the message he's delivered over the course of the last, since we've been together with the team, I think has been great, and it's been clear cut, concise. Players are, able to hear that and take that message and go with it. And then, he just has an infectious personality, getting around, talking to the guys, and then, just like we all are, he loves ball. He loves to do football. So on top of all doing, having the command and having the influence in terms of culture and team, he's a football guy at heart. So just being able to, for him to have a conversation in a hallway or a meeting, hey, here's here's what I see on this. Here's how, I could see it adjusted, or here's how I can help you. And at the end of the day, that's what, coaches, we're here to do, is serve the players and help them grow. And it's been fun to watch him, from knowing him so long and watch him in this role and just see him, do so well,
Is there stuff, do you see, and if the answer is no, it's fine. Do you see ever any of your dad's influence in him? Anything that, because he coached under him for a little while.
Yeah.
I think it was his first sort of big-time-ish job.
Yeah.
Do you see any of that in him ever?
I can't say for certain. If he does, I think I'd probably know it because I've heard it my whole life. So, but yeah, if he, we'll see how when the bullets start flying. If he loses cool or or something, or if there's certain things he may say. But no, I haven't seen anything just yet. Liam has been around a ton of different people, and at the end of the day, he's kind of he's himself first, and then has those influences. So I can't point to anything just yet.
What final thing, and then we'll move on to what we call the Ozone 5. Why ready now? I mean, meaning, as a quarterback's coach, where are you better than you would have been 5 years ago for this job?
It's a great question. I've thought of this through my career because I played quarterback growing up, and when I got into coaching, the first room I got in my first year was the quarterback room, and I didn't get back into that room until 1 year in 2018 until now. And I've spent some time in and out in Arizona, but
been around it.
The bulk of it had been, in different position rooms, whether it be tight end, receiver, even stopping in the offensive line room, running back, having coached in the running back room for a year. So those things have kind of, to grow up through my life and always being on quarterback and not really, knowing what's going on, but not knowing the intricacies of other positions and having that ability to get in that room and see different things. I think that I was super fortunate to be able to take a lot of those things and now kind of, have that different perspective for the quarterback room. And while that whole time was going on in different positions, at heart, my favorite position is the quarterback and being in that quarterback room. And that's what I've grown up doing. So, but just to have an opportunity to take those things, working on defense, and take those things back with me into the quarterback room and to be able to talk the language with them, I'm just super grateful for it because I think that, that's helped me a bunch.
That sounds like an OC and a head coach's resume eventually.
Well, I'm just happy right now that I have this role and learning and helping, and like I said, I love coming to work each day. I really do. It's just something it's not work for me. It's a passion, and I'm super passionate and fired up to be here.
Gotcha. The final thing we do, we call it the Ozone 5. It's 5 quick, fun questions. Spencer Whipple, what was your last binge watch?
Binge watch. I might have to get my wife to tell me what we watched, but she's more up on the shows. But if there's a good show out, we try to watch it and sit down. Sometimes we don't. I know there's big ones. I always see them talked about throughout the country. My favorite show of all time was The Office.
Okay.
And so that was...
My wife's watching The Office right now.
Yeah, that was something that I had watched in high school even, or growing up. And now I walk into and it's always on the TV. It's taken off some of the... So I'll sit down and, I don't necessarily binge watch it anymore, but I'll watch that if it's on. And but in terms of any new shows, I can't quite put my finger on any new ones.
The last song you heard on the way in this morning?
Man, I think I might have been just kind of riding in. I can't remember what song. I know I got a workout this morning, and Coach Giano had some classic rock on, which I enjoy. So we had a little, I don't know, there was AC/DC, there was Rolling Stones, there was a little grunge music in there, 90s alternative. So he had it kind of rocking in there. So it was good. That was probably the last thing I listened to. I'm pretty diverse when it comes to music. There's not much that I don't care to listen for.
Good deal. Your best football memory?
Wow, this is a tough one. There's just so many moments that can come to me, and I think just learning experiences through this whole time, from growing up playing, from I think it always comes back to the people that you're around and those relationships that you build, because ultimately that's what it's about. And when you're in the moment, it's the work. And as you look back and reflect on those times where you've grown and people have helped you and, reached out and were willing and able to, coach you up and give you knowledge, those are the things I carry with me and think about, because at the end of the day, it's a relationship. It's a people's business. It's a people's game. And so those are the moments, those people that I've come in contact with and doing so now that are always going to stand out for me.
Gotcha. Sport other than football that you were good at?
Oh, man. I played baseball and basketball a little bit growing up and golfed quite a bit growing up. But I just I felt like I poured all my love, my heart, my soul into football. So there wasn't one sport other than football that I could say I was actually really a good player at.
I'm assuming this is pretty obvious in your case. The person most responsible for you being here?
I'd say my father,
right.
My dad. And
if you could sum up what he meant, I mean, I know it's so much because the career, but
and that's part of also my family, my mom and my brother, and just the whole family experience. But to the lessons that he's taught me and continue to teach me, just growing up, and especially not just football, but in life and the things you take with you, but certainly the game itself. And I was just fortunate to have him as a resource, him going through the coaching, and, maybe took him quite a while to get where he was at and work his way up. But he would always give me little tidbits and lessons and things that I could take with me.
Sure.
And
the perspective
that I
in a
still
tough profession. Sure.
use today in terms of, how things operate, how things are going, the things that you can do, that I can do personally to help myself to continue to grow. And he was just big on that. And I would say him for sure, my family, just all the support they've always given me. And then, like I mentioned, all those people that I've come in contact with, whether it be coaches, players, they all kind of shape you who you are as a coach. So I'm super fortunate to, be around all those people.
I got you. Spencer Whipple, I know this is a busy time of year when a group is trying to transition and get going. So I appreciate you joining the Ozone Podcast and look forward to working with you down the road.
That's great. Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
Thanks
for having me.